Oh, God. Well,
In
I'm still
fairness, the
flickering.
Matrix. You were. The Matrix has you.
I'm gonna
I
have to
think that
log into Twitch because RCM bot is not flicking chat over to
Oh,
IRC.
I'll fix that now.
Let's just reset everything from the very beginning
Yeah, it's
again.
fine. I'm cool with that.
We are
I
totally
deal with
editing
that.
the living crap out of this episode before it goes on YouTube, Killer.
Wait, you mean I'm editing the crap out of this episode
No,
before it
That's
goes on
exactly
YouTube?
what.
I told you before the entire reason I bought the rig that I did, and I spec'd it out the way that you guys told me to, was the idea was that you were going to teach me how to do all this stuff so that I could
You were about to say shit.
I was
Don't
gonna
lie.
say all sorts
Tell
of
us what you
things.
really think. That rage, though. That rage.
So anyway.
Okay, the Twitch bot ought to be okay now.
Yay! Yeah. Alright, RCM bot has quit and rejoined RivalCast. Huzzah!
Hooray!
Yeah.
Alright.
More drinking time.
Ugh.
Ooh.
So...
What do you think, Beerbot? I shall drink more beer.
Or more scotch. I swear to God, I should just be a spokesman for the Scotch.
You really should.
Are we at the shilling part of the show?
Yes, we are.
Or I thought we were going to start over, so I wanted to...
you know what? Yes, we're gonna start over. Okay, so
Okay,
it's...
I'm just checking. Before
Happy
He's the
Friday!
Baroness. He's
we're
Biom-
flickering again. This is fantastic. Alright. So... For the... I don't even know how many times I've done this intro now. I should have it down by now. Alright, so welcome again to RCM On Tap. For those of you who are new to the show, this is our What, Killer?
Well, yeah, our frame rate on the stream is like super slow.
You know what? We're just gonna roll with it.
Okay, then let's continue on.
We'll
Sorry.
splice in the intro from earlier because this is ridiculous now. We need to get to questions. Sayo, welcome.
Howdy!
I'm sure this wasn't how you intended to start your weekend.
Well, I didn't start my weekend. I started my weekend about 2 hours ago when I delivered Mayday buckets to my neighbors. But
what? Mayday buckets?
yeah, I don't know. This is a tradition of like where you live. But when I was a kid, we'd always we basically make little buckets of candy and we'd take them to all our neighbors. And so I figured, seems like.
I've never heard of anything on Mayday other than
the maypole and
gatherings, like
International Workers' Day.
Yeah, it sounds very socialist and communist there.
We had a maypole.
No, I've honestly never heard of any Mayday festivities other than gatherings of people to talk about.
No, I mean, I think it's an older
Dee's
tradition.
confirming he said we did baskets. I've never. That's interesting to me.
And
it's another holiday that I'm getting ripped off of. I could be getting free stuff.
We take candy to our neighbors.
Like that.
It's a fun thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so my daughter got to play with our neighbors, which is always it's just kind of an excuse to hang out. It's not.
Okay.
They call it what it is.
Yeah, I was about to say that, Bio. That's kind of phrasing. Play
Next
with the
Mayday,
neighbors, right?
I'm headed to Iowa. Just saying.
Okay, if you come to Iowa,
get a bucket of stuff.
It'll be cool. All right. For those of you watching the broadcast, you might want to use some post-it notes to put over where my camera is so that you don't get, motion sickness from watching the show. Just saying.
The Matrix has her.
It seems to be helping a little bit, actually, after I put the thing over that. So, anyway. All right. So, the reason that we're here together tonight, obviously, is we want to talk about different things that are going on, around us, and talk about how I don't want to say talk about our feelings because that'll make Varga break out in hives, but we'll go with that because I have a headache and I'm losing vocabulary here as we speak. So it's graduation season. For those of us in education, especially those that work in high school, those that work in college level schooling, this is like the time of year that we wait for the entire time. This is when our students that we've worked with for so long are getting ready to go out in the world, use the knowledge that we've imparted on them and hopefully do something fantastic with it. So what I wanted to talk about tonight and why I wanted Sayo to be on, because Sayo works in the schools too.
That's true.
Since it's graduation season, let's start off with what is some of the best or most memorable advice that you had, that you received as a young graduate, whether it was high school, whether it was college. What are some of the things that people, advised you on that really stood out?
So I'm the one getting put on the spot first.
No,
I take it
actually,
because this
I'm
is
gonna.
my.
I'm
No,
gonna.
trust me, I wasn't anticipating this question either. I thought it was advice that we could come up
No,
with.
that's
So
the second
I was
question.
Yeah.
gonna
That's the
say I
second
have
question.
I was just looking over there. I was looking at the video feed. I'm like looking at my phone. Like, what was the question for this week?
Killer, do you have an answer for this while the other two stall?
No, well, I'm happy to talk about it. I'm just, truthfully, I don't remember.
Thank you, Sayo. Thank you, because I need you to stall for me.
Excellent.
I've got one.
Okay,
I have one, guys.
but I can go
it's a good
first.
one too. A man by the name of Mr. T once said, "Drink your school, stay in drugs, and don't do milk, kids."
What?
And you're fired.
I think
And we're fired.
I don't truthfully remember ever getting good advice on like graduation occasions, because graduation occasions were always like big celebrations. Where
Yeah, that's why I
where you'd have fun and do stuff like. And I've always found like graduation speeches just be the most boring dreck ever.
I'm not talking
It's just-
necessarily graduation speeches. I'm
Well,
just
but I
saying,
mean, but you
somebody
look at,
pulls
like,
you
look
aside
at-
and says, "You know what, son? You're about to go out in the world."
The best advice ever is from Yoda, and it's do or do not. There is no try.
Okay.
I mean, that's really, it was good. And I mean,
I just have this mental image.
Do
of
you see what I'm
standing
seeing, Killer?
there in your
Yeah, I
robes
saw
and-
that too. Sorry. Apparently, Varyar was told the advice he got was to wear a condom tonight, son. Don't want your life to end before it starts.
That's good advice.
Game over, man. Game over.
Game over.
That is good advice. And no, D, we don't
Poor
always make the guest go first. I was trying to make Bio go first, and
Hey, I said mine, Mr. T. Totally. Honestly, my experience leaving high school was kind of different because I was a first generation university student from my direct bloodline, so no one could really give good advice in terms of what to expect at college and any of that. I know there's the obvious do what you love thing, but at the same time it's there comes some realism that you need to do
which is
what has a
not
job.
exactly good advice, but it's not
Right.
It's not bad advice, but it needs to be tempered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have some advice that kind of corrects that a little bit in the next question. But yeah, that's the stereotypical thing that parents kind of told this generation and maybe the one just before it, as they were going into college, was you can do anything,
Do what you want to do.
dreams. Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
then there's somebody I've heard the advice of, whatever your hobby is, you should turn that into your job.
Yeah.
Like,
if your hobby
that's-
is like, skinning rabbits in the backyard while, playing eerie music in the background.
You had to take
though,
it there.
that's
I've been
not-
triggered.
Yeah.
I've been
Ding,
triggered.
ding, 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 ding,
Sorry, Bio.
ding.
All right, Lenny. Put the rabbit down.
No, so yes, that's why I'm going to aspire to be a pro Gundam model builder. I'm sure there's one out there in
That shit
Japan.
advice.
Probably
thanks,
is.
Okay. Best graduation advice I ever received was when I was finishing with my undergrad. It was 2 words my friend told me. Right before we were about to walk across the stage and get our scrolls and everything.
Let me guess.
Don't
What?
trip.
Oh, that's yeah. I was gonna say don't fart, but okay, don't trip is a good one too.
Well, if I farted, nobody would know except the president of the university, and I could blame that on, the fact that I was behind and in front of 2 guys that were notorious for their...
It's brilliant. She even today she remembers her escape route.
You guys,
Don't
okay,
trip.
okay. So as someone else who's gone through graduation and done this, did you find it really kind of weird? Like you finally get up to stage, you shake the president of the university, shake the hand of some member of the board of regents or whatever have you, or the controlling board of the university, some random other person, and then you get off the stage and you're like that was really kind of awkward. Like not
Yeah, it's like,
awkward.
I
in a-
didn't talk to any of these
They
people.
didn't. They really
Well-
didn't. They really had no, F's
Can
to
I-
give about any of me or.
Mine
Can I
was
share an
exceptionally-
interesting story about that?
Sure.
Okay, so when I was in New York with my roommates, one of them, she's in the social work program up there at the University of New York, Stony Brook. She contracted mono because you have to do internships, and people with social workers go to kind of unsanitary people and such, people who don't know how to take care of themselves per se, or don't have the same kind of common sense that we kind of expect to be the norm. So she contracted mono, and she was on an accelerated program. So she was doing in a year what normally takes about 2 years to get a master's in social work. She got her, what the heck is it? The bears are kissing! The bears are kissing!
Oh no, Sayo! Bears
The
are trying to
kissing
attack you.
disease.
Hold on, let me get my gun. I can shoot them. Hold on.
Oh wow, this is already...
Ah, there we go. They're down. There we go.
Well,
And
so
this,
she got
folks,
this.
is why you need to tune into the live show every Friday at 9:30.
Apparently.
Or at very least a YouTube stream.
Oh, yeah, right.
Or at least
Really.
catch us on YouTube, guys.
Now the
No,
question
so-
everyone's gonna. Oh, sorry, Bio. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, well, she got mono, and the funny thing is, going along with what Sayo said, one of the people who was speaking, I don't think she was the one that shook hands with her, but one of the keynote speakers at the graduation, not the main one, but, everybody got their spiel, like, rah, 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 you guys worked hard. One of those people was someone who, when she went to her and said, what should I do? I have mono, I don't really need to be here, but it's like a long term, takes several months. Basically told her to drop out the program. That was the advice this person gave her. So there was kind of a satisfaction that she got to walk across and just be like, screw you. You told me to drop out over, the fact that I was dealing with inflammation and all this other stuff. And I stuck with it and got my degree.
Well, and I admire people who, you always hear someone with those kind of stories. And, it's good when people overcome difficulty. I just feel like for most of us who just, strive to be, get through this in our humble, kind of slow, somewhat lacking kind of way, which definitely could be wanting for more. It just feels like, I don't know, after spending far too many years working on my degree, and I'm not going to say how many because I don't want to seem like a complete idiot, but
I'm going to be paid.
Was it more than 8 or less than...
Say, we're going to be talking about that later, so don't worry about it.
Far too many. I will neither confirm or deny how many digits are in them. Far too many. But
1,000 years.
Yeah, so
it's over 9,000.
What, 9,000?
God.
Well, and that's the other thing. And, the other thing, just going back to my previous, talking about, like, graduation ceremonies, my general disdain for them. Like, how many times can you hear two roads diverge in a yellow wood? Eventually you get kind of tired. It's a great poem, and at some point you've heard it enough times. Like, yes, I get it. Let's cut that third trail. Let's let's take the road less traveled. Maybe the road more traveled is great. Like, I've heard every variation on, like, how you talk about how two roads diverge in yellow wood. Guess what? Nice poem. Let's find something else to talk about at graduation ceremonies.
Yeah, because when I took American literature, it was actually interpreted in both ways. We had to interpret it in a positive and negative light. So it was okay. They took the road less traveled, and it turned out there was a reason it was the road less traveled. It was kind of a creepy idea.
Dragons.
I'm just imagining now, like, you're sitting through this year's ceremony, and just they get to that point, and you just start yelling about the dragons being at the end of the road.
Dovahkiin. Oh, that'd be amazing if that's how a commencement speech started. Start with the Skyrim theme. Dovahkiin. And Sayo's ascending to the podium.
I need to drink more.
See, okay.
I'm sorry. I had to drink some more.
Do you want some Excedrin? Do you want some killer?
Want some crack?
Oh, good.
Hi, kids.
No, that's the candy cigarettes that we found out were from Colombia.
That's the bad advice.
That's upstairs.
What was bad about the candy cigarettes? I don't think I got all the way through that episode yet.
Oh, we figured out because we were like chain eating the candy cigarettes, and then I noticed on the side of the box that the candy cigarettes are made in Colombia.
Oh God!
And we realized why they are so addictive. So
I see.
That's brilliant.
I may need to be checking myself into rehab.
Have you invested in a box cutter razor blade to make sure to chop it
There's
up now?
one in the kitchen. Anyway.
Have you been seeing as you detox, have you been seeing like spiders walking up all along the walls?
There are spiders everywhere down here.
Oh God.
That'd be horrifying.
I'm in the basement. Oh my God, they're everywhere. God.
Okay.
Wow. that went off topic a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Tad.
It's okay. That's what it's meant for.
I totally
you
agree.
invite
Sam.
me on this show, there are going to be random tangents because that's what I'm about.
That's true. That's what happens when we get together.
You want to go far afield, we go far afield.
Very far afield.
Bio has a lightsaber, it looks like.
Yeah, I had to do my air saber because
Saber.
there's not enough room in this
flickering.
box to do an actual baseball kind of bunt action going on.
Why must you be so constrained about the box? You got to think outside the box.
Why are you letting society limit you, Bio?
Exactly, man.
What if
That
it's
would
not
be-
a box? What if it's like a cube? You know?
You're
Put that
still
third dimension in there.
You're still constraining yourself to 3 dimensions. What about space time? What about 4th and 5th dimensions, Bio?
Nobody really
That's
gives a
really
fuck
funny.
about the
We can go
fifth
space
dimension.
Yeah, I know
theory
that.
where we have to invent like 12 additional dimensions to make the math work out, and it's like, there it is.
Yeah, and that totally works,
If you
right?
don't want to do that, then obviously you're just being lazy on a Friday night. I'm just
Okay, there was a great article this week talking about how, so apparently, I've never actually read this, but there's in addition to dark matter theory, there's also a theory out there, basically this, I forget exactly the term, it's basically this idea of like modified Newtonian physics, basically that gravity, functions differently at great distances than it does at really close range. And basically, there's no strong evidence one way or another that, whether dark matter is better than modified Newtonian physics. It's just there's a lot more money in looking for dark matter than there is in modified Newtonian physics. Hey, guess what scientists are really all about? Let's spend millions or billions of dollars on these dark matter detectors that have found nothing in over almost 3 decades of searching.
But are you saying that scientists, the ones who should be striving for learning new knowledge and stuff like that, are just as greedy?
You're bedders. You're bedders.
You're saying they're motivated by it like everyone else, like the peasants? They're motivated by money?
You're bedders.
God,
So,
my world
what I'm
is
hearing,
destroyed.
is what you need to be telling these high school graduates is that if you decide to go to college, you need to get a degree in the hard sciences where you can be a scientist and go into like really
That's not where it's
really
at now.
theoretical stuffs.
Actually,
Get yourself some grant money, take some creative writing classes.
Yeah, there's that, and you have to become professionally offended.
Well, I was going to say,
You gotta find a way to make that into.
as an educational system, if we're steering you into an area, it probably means that's a bad idea to get into that area. So right now, everything is about STEM. So you probably want to get out of STEM as fast as possible because it's going to be a bomb sector in about 5 years. I'm just saying, if history is our guide, chances are probably what's going to happen.
And that's what I kind of argue about a lot of, which is funny for me to say this on Twitch, but people trying to really go into professional streaming and professional YouTube video and stuff like that, and it's like, if you can make it work, by all means go for it. I'm not going to stop someone, but I'm really hesitant when floodgates open, when anybody can stream now. At one time, there was kind of a tier there that said you've got to have resources. Now, all I've got to do is have an Xbox One or a PS4 and I can stream to Twitch. And it's just like,
Now you can give Baroness buttons at random and look at the show.
Hey, so if we're going on
Yeah.
good piece of advice, I know my dad more once said, if you see everyone running in one direction, probably should run the other way.
Yeah.
Indeed.
All right, Killer. What was the best
just,
advice you got
towards
as a
the
grad?
I'm trying to remember what advice I got as a grad.
That's
You
a
were
long
just
time ago,
partying
wasn't
so
it?
For me, it
hard then.
was.
Oh,
It's-
really?
Okay,
Younger
so
than
7.
I am.
Boy,
It's
you
been
better
7
start paying
years
for
for
your
me.
room now.
I'm
We're both
sorry.
older than you are.
I know. Jeez, I don't know. Make sure you pay off your debt as soon as possible.
That's a
Which
good
for me-
one.
Don't get credit
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah, don't get into
Oh,
debt.
it's true. I did get that. Yeah.
Don't get what? Wait.
Credit
Into
cards.
debt. Oh yeah, credit cards.
Or stay away from credit cards in
But-
general.
Yeah,
Hey, I
well,
signed up for one, and I never used it. Didn't even activate it.
that's the funny thing because my dad never really had that money talk with me about saving money and stuff like that. Because I was just naturally inclined to save stuff. Dude, they like to joke about back in first grade. Our teacher, like every week, we would get 5 beans, and she would have this little shop that you could buy stuff with those beans. And when I actually spent actual stuff, I had like over 100 beans. I didn't buy anything for weeks
Wow.
upon weeks. I literally saved it up until the very end, even from that early age.
I want to hire a comic book artist now to make like the adventures of Lil Killer. It'd be like Lil Killer has like his backpack just full of beads, like bursting forth, and he like dumps it over, and he's like, "I want to buy Skippy a grave because this is stupid."
I wish. I wish.
God.
But no,
That would be amazing, actually.
yeah, it would be kind of scary too.
Lil Killer.
Sitting- You know, no, life was kind of boring. I have to admit.
You know, I've always taken the view of the best stories are for when everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, I feel like when people have told me things are bad ideas in my life, I've usually listened. And for the most part, I've lived a pretty uneventful, relatively happy life. And if I was going to give you advice, I'm like, if someone's giving you advice, you probably should listen to it. You don't have to always follow it, but at least take it for what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
most advice is given, at least with a good intent. I mean, yeah, there are some really terrible people in the world, and that's, there's no getting around that. But generally speaking, but generally speaking, if someone gives you advice, be it a teacher or a parent or just some, relatively like caring adult or a friend, bro, if they're telling you, hey, maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe you're dating someone who's terrible for you. Maybe you should at least consider it. Not saying you have to follow all advice, and truthfully, a lot of learning is both, in a kind of problem-solving way, and both in a learning it or through experience kind of way. Is we do something wrong and we learn not to touch a hot stove anymore. But sometimes, generally, we can like say, that stove's hot, and you can say, you know what? I think there might be something to that. I'm not going to touch that hot stove.
Yeah, well, and also what I try and do, at least when I get advice, I look at the source too, kind of like what I was telling you with my family, having been the first person to college. It's like they understood that they just did not have any advice for it. Yeah. So, I asked, I guess the advice I got for them was more general life than, you're going to do this at school or something, because they were just like, I don't know how college works. You go to class, you take tests.
Yeah.
All right. So, the next question, kind of segueing here.
Segue.
What sound does the
advice...
segue make?
I don't know. Boom, 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 boom. That's what it makes.
I think it makes like a low, like a mechanical...
Here's
like electric motor going...
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Here's what sound this makes. That's what it is. The sound of silence. The sound of silence. Alright. Oh, that's right. I still
Are we
hear
going to
you.
burst into song now?
Well, you can now. You can now.
I can't think of any other words in that song now.
No, neither can I.
Alright, so it sounds to me like you guys didn't really get, with the exception of Varyar, nobody really got some very memorable advice.
No.
What advice...
Not for graduation, definitely
What
not.
advice would you give to new high school or college graduates? All right.
Sorry.
These people are
Now,
about to
you
go
said
out
college,
in the world.
right?
College or
College
high
or
school.
high school.
Okay, because I've got, yeah.
Sorry, I was about to say, abandon all hope you enter here. That's not good advice, no.
I
There's
got
a little
that
bit of
advice,
truth.
though. I got that advice.
Did
I
you?
was gonna say, if I was gonna, for someone going into college, which is not all people graduating from high school, I would say, be careful. The university will fuck you over, and they'll continue to fuck you over, and pretty much assume that they're gonna fuck you over until you get out the door.
Yeah, you're
Because
pretty much just a number to, you hit a tier where you're just a number and maybe one or two people care about
Well, I
it.
mean, that's not to say there aren't good people in the university system.
Right.
But at the same time, it's mostly that, look, understand the rules, understand how the rules work. Like, if your school has a code of conduct, or if your school has, like, general procedures, like how we're, if I have a dispute with a professor, like, understand those things so that when they come up, it's not like, uh-oh, what do I do? You look at, okay, here's how we handle this. And that's what you need to be prepared for those situations. Does it happen to most people? No. But do you want to be the person who gets stuck because this is true in real life as well. Once you get beyond college, is usually when it comes to filing grievances, there's a very short window of time to file a grievance. Assuming you got screwed over for a grade or in a job, and they need to be filed in a timely manner. Otherwise, they're gonna be like, look, it was a month and a half ago. You have 30 days to file a grievance. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is, and you're stuck. And now you filed a grievance and you look like an ass. So. Understand the rules. I mean, that's kind of the way it is.
Okay. Bio, I know you had a list.
Okay. So, yeah. I've got a list.
A
So
list.
one of them is you're going to fail often, learn from it. I can't tell you how many people I knew in high school or people who were in my college classes who had done the whole AP track. They were in honors college and they weren't doing well in college, and they just threw a rage fit. Like, how dare you? I did well on this topic in high school, and I took AP World History or something, and how dare you assume that I didn't know and I don't deserve an A on this. Like, look, you're going to fail, but what you do with it is up to you. You can turn that around. The more you fail, the more you learn. I know there's kind of, I think it was Von Braun, maybe, who'd kind of made the joke that, he's, failing over and over and over, and then you succeed once, kind of thing. And then from that success come more successes.
Oh, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
My other one was, if high school is boring or overly difficult, consider vocational school. There's nothing wrong with not going to college. To assume that university is the only path to go to get a fulfilling and well-paying career, not true at all.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah, and so many people go, and that's where you get people going into things who have, they leave with a degree that they don't really care for. They can't find a job for it or whatever. It's like, well, maybe you should have looked at something else.
The loan debt that goes along with it.
Yes.
I can't tell you. I mean, we have tons of people that come into our university all the time to get information that say, well, this is what I want to do, and it's like, well, you don't need they're very specific about what they want to do. It's like the hands-on stuff, this and that. It's like, well, you don't need a degree to do that. You need, to go and get your certification, and we don't offer this part, but, you can go here, and this is what you would need to do what you're saying that you want to do. So,
right, definitely.
Yeah. So
well, and another thing I thought of was, don't declare a major on day one. I know when you're first walking through the cattle line to get your student ID and all that stuff, they pressured me to choose physics. They didn't say, like, choose physics, but they pressured me to do one, so I chose physics. And ended up being, I knew what physics was. I enjoyed the field, I still do, but once I was surrounded by all the other physics majors, I kind of wanted to hang myself. So it became very quick. I was just like, nope, I'm ejecting, pulling that ejector switch.
See, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand is with most like traditional colleges, you don't whatever you choose as your major at the beginning isn't really what you're going to end up with in most
Sure.
cases. I mean, I think when I went through, it's like the average number of times that a student changed their major from the time they started day one as a freshman to the time they graduated was like 3.5 was the average. And I mean, just thinking about my own experience, I mean, I was accepted as an engineering student and should have stuck with that, but decided to switch. I went to education for a while. I went through different phases of the education program for a while, and then ended up getting a general degree in mathematics. So it's like, yeah, you generally
Totally.
you have an idea of what you want to start with, but really until you get past your first couple of years, which are mostly gen eds anyway, until you start hitting
And
your
gen eds
core
are terrible.
classes, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does to some extent, but not overly so.
Yeah. And kind of as an extension of that, going back to what Sayo was saying when he said you don't want to know how many years you've been in, don't be afraid of taking it slow.
No.
Instead of going through the traditional 4-year. Being in debt with a less value degree is a lot, is far worse, way worse than taking like 5, 6, 7, 8 years to graduate. Because more than likely you're able to do a part-time job, get additional experiences, whereas when you're ramrodded through the 4-year process, I feel like you miss out on some experiences because they're just trying to get you through the system.
Yeah.
But the other side of that is what I did is like, you know, I got disenchanted with my education, and you know, I went way more into my job, and frankly, it hurt my ability to take my classes effectively, to the point where I just kind of had to put doing work on the side until I finished my degree. You know, not having done a significant amount of damage to my GPA in the process, because I really was kind of grumpy at the whole world at the time. So
Happens.
I was content to work, and working was good, and you know, like, this stuff is just kind of background noise. Like, I'm doing it because I should, but I didn't do a very good job at it. Well,
Right.
Yeah, well, that tends not to have terribly
It's a different life
positive
experience,
consequences.
right? Different path to Rome.
Yeah, not
So to
a
speak.
wise one, but yes, it does.
Yeah, it's
It
still
does exist.
Everybody's
Yes.
paths are different. All right, Killer, before I get to you, chat has
Yes.
some good stuff going on. So
Yeah, definitely.
Varyar's advice for new graduates would be: don't follow your heart. Your heart is a retard with no true cost-benefit abilities and no sense of earning power.
Nope.
So to tie onto that, when your parents told you to live your dream, they were lying.
When your parents told you to live your dream,
They're
they wanted you to
projecting
be
themselves on
happy,
you.
but they didn't mean sit around in their basement playing D&D all day. I'm just saying.
Well, why is it gonna be D&D?
Because I was
Why you
going to
gotta
say
hurt on
video
D&D?
games,
That's-
and
that's
then I
messed
realized
up.
where I was. So anyway,
That's messed up.
just saying. D wrote,
Gamist.
And just when you thought that we wouldn't become Tumblr, we just did.
yeah.
Yeah. Well.
I'll shut up now. I'll drink
D
more.
writes, for his advice, don't let anyone sway you, especially a man or woman. You can replace friends and relationships, but you can't replace achieving your dreams. And that is very good advice.
It's true. I would think too, now that I think of that comment, also that the friends you make, especially leaving high school, the friends you make in the next 5 to 6 years, or however long you're at college, and maybe even right after that, are going to be the ones that have the probably biggest impact on your life, and the people that you actually want to be around. I can't think of any of my. In fact, I got invited to my 10-year high school reunion last year, and I was just like, I'm busy. Sorry, I'm not going to come down from Long Island just to see people that have not talked to me at all since we graduated.
Yeah.
I keep in contact with a few people from high school because I want to keep in contact with them. Everyone else, I have no ill will towards any of them, but nonetheless, you don't choose those relationships. It's just that college is unique in that you do choose to make, meaningful, lasting relationships with people who you never run into, with different interests than yours, and
Sure.
And sometimes completely, people who are, kind of the way people describe the internet. Like, I meet all these people who are like me and have similar interests like me that I didn't know even existed. College, at least historically, has always served that function, and so it's kind of nice that way too.
Yeah, and it's not to say that I think of the people from high school negatively, which I know nobody here was saying that per se, but it's just like I moved on and made a different group of friends who I think are stronger than the ones I had in high school.
Definitely.
I think as you get older, you have to work harder at it too, which is why I think that the relationships that you do build, because you have to put that much more effort into it, that's you make sure that the ones that you're building are more meaningful as a result.
And there's a wider pool too, because when you're in high school, it's kind of there's that cliquish nature for a lot of them. Whereas I have friends where people are just like, "Wow, you're friends with that person." I'm like, yeah, pretty cool. Like I've been friends with people who, ride motorcycles on weekends. I've been friends with people who garden. It's just like, different hobbies. Everyone's into their own thing. That's cool with me. Whatever.
My favorites are the people that garden and then hop on their Harleys for a ride.
Or they rig their Harley with like a tiller so they can go up and down. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty amazing.
Just saying.
All right. Killer, what advice would you give to grads?
What you want right now is not what you're going to want in 5 years.
Totally.
In most cases, yeah.
So be prepared. I fucking hate my roommate right now. Get the fuck out, man. Get the fuck out.
Oh,
I want to know what's going on.
He's doing
just
that
walked in. He just. I'm surprised the microphone didn't pick it up.
It picked up a little bit, but we couldn't make out what he said.
What'd you say? Apparently, if you don't want pussy, if you want pussy now, you're not gonna want pussy later. Is that what you said? Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out! God damn him!
That's right, kids. You heard it here.
Yeah, he's still like arguing. Get the fuck out!
So D put in the chat more advice: don't eat a large pizza by yourself. You'll just feel sad, lonely, and fat.
This is true.
Poor D. That said, if you get thin crust, it's not that bad. I'm just saying.
No?
Just saying that comes from experience.
No, but
Got bio dropping some knowledge bombs on us.
Yeah. Anywho, when I went through college, I wanted to be a programmer. I wanted to be a game programmer.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But I started realizing as I was going through year after year. Well, actually, when we start back, at first I wanted to be an Army officer, but of course that dream got crushed within the first 3 months of college. So that went out the window. But later on, as I went throughout, year 2, year 3, 2, 3, and 4, I was like, I am tired of programming. But I do not want to sit behind a desk and just type at a computer all day. And luckily for me, I finally did get a job at kind of towards computers, but, more IT, hands-on. So my advice is, don't, oh God, what?
Vampy's advice. How did nobody make a 5-year killer joke on that one?
God damn you, Vampy.
Ghost did.
God damn you.
His roommate did.
God damn it, Vampy. I'm kicking you out of TeamSpeak. There you go. You're now on the AFK channel. I'm going to use the power I have and abuse the hell out of it.
She's Twitch chatting. Yeah.
I don't care.
She's not even in our channel.
No, but I can move her out of the TeamSpeak channel she was in.
Hey, I've just made an amazing discovery.
Yes.
Apparently, integrated mathematic formulas is Bio's Bible, and it makes him hiss like a demon.
But okay.
Jeez.
So back on topic. Know what you want to do. Don't let others dictate what you want. When I mean others, I'm not just saying your parents, your friends, and other. I'm also talking about society in general. Like for those star athletes, you'll get a scholarship to football and everything. Who think they have a chance of making an NFL or other pro sports. The chances of you actually making that are slim to none, unless you're the top %. So
Sure, yeah.
make sure you know what you want.
I am so triggered right now.
Bio,
Oh,
this might
God.
help you. This
Don't
is the
make
greatest
me-
math book ever.
Don't make me whip out my biochemistry textbook. I'm looking at it right now.
Don't you mean
make
your
me do it.
BioAlchemist textbook?
No.
So this is I have my, rather than a cross, I have my TI-86 here.
TI-86,
Oh, no.
really?
I think was there a party foul? I thought I heard a party foul over in the Killer McCoy house.
No, I just set my drink down.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard a spew.
This is slowly just turning we're degenerating into like a, show all the math stuff and make the others cry.
Yeah.
It's quickly becoming this. All right, we need to move along.
I can drop some college grad ones right quick because those first ones were kind of for.
Okay.
No.
Were you done, Killer?
Yeah, I'm pretty much done.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Bio, I'm done. You continue on.
Bio's
Basically,
next.
No, we've had our
That
cute
was out of
boy
voice.
break.
Now
I'd
you're gonna
like
want
to keep
pussy
talking.
later.
That's how the voice
One at a
respect
time.
there.
One at a time. Killer has the floor.
He has
Late,
the
I
conch. He has the conch.
I have the conch.
Yeah, remember
Really?
from Lord of the Flies?
No, I never read Lord of the
Okay, there was the
Flies.
conch shell, and whoever had it got to speak, so you have the conch.
Okay, well,
I
where's
have
my
a shitload of
conch?
conch shells, and they're all buried in my. That
we
means
all
I
need
win
to get one now,
forever!
so we can hold it
I
up.
shall mute you all again. Killer.
I'm done. Bio, continue.
Okay, well, I mean, mine kind of tied into what a lot of people said, but if you're not having much luck finding a job with your current major, like the standard one, so like what you were saying, if you go into a game design specialization, if you're not finding work at a game design studio, don't be afraid to look at jobs kind of off the beaten track. I studied for emergency management. I have not once worked for a department of emergency management. I was kind of joking earlier in the week while I was organizing the bookshelf over here. Like, I have all these books on terrorism and such from different classes I had to take. I've not once applied knowledge specifically for that part, but a lot of the structure that's kind of taught in the program, how to build a team on the fly based on what situation and what resources you have, has been invaluable for pretty much every job I've been on recently. So GPA matters in the academic world, but not so much in the business world. Sayo may be able to refute that. I'm not 100% sure, but in software at least, people have put their GPA on it before, and we didn't even look at it or talk about it.
It matters for the first job. It doesn't matter after that. I mean, it's
Sure.
like anything. I mean, when you have no experience, that's the only thing you can really rely on. And as you say, if someone's applying to you for a tech job, they're probably showing you a portfolio, right? Bio. I assume they're showing you a portfolio. So, like, here's my work, like. Or because usually that's
It depends. It depends on what you're necessarily showing. So a lot of the stuff I've written, for example, is owned by the hospital. So intellectual property rights are there. So I can't necessarily say, here are code snippets I've written, but I can say, here's the project I was on. And normally in the interview, they kind of drill you, if you do get to that point, to make sure that you really understand it versus I'm just a project manager trying to pretend to be a programmer. So they'll start asking more technical, in-depth questions, and you can explain those. You just can't take your code with you in the portfolio. Now, some of the things I designed were physical, so I do have pictures of that, which I could supply, like, hey, I helped put this together, kind of thing. But yeah, it's not as easy in tech when your code's not necessarily yours.
Yep.
A minute, you built a robot woman, didn't you? In your basement. Don't lie.
Oh, I wouldn't be here on Friday nights if I had.
Ooh, good point. Baroness, you haven't given... What advice would you give
Go ahead.
for
I've said enough.
high school
What
and
advice
college?
would I give?
Yes,
Don't get
ma'am.
into podcasting. At least don't be a moderator of a podcast with friends, because it will invariably go awry.
That's true.
No. Well, it's actually kind of funny because every year, like, from the time, like, even as an undergrad, I always helped out with the graduation ceremonies as a volunteer. And then once I graduated and I started working for a college, from the very get-go, I was always on the committee. So I was always, like, helping make decisions and making sure things ran right on the day. So every year I would write a graduation speech for the keynote speech, not to be delivered by the keynote speaker that we chose, because we have a different, speaker every year. I help with that too. But because, when you're dealing with projects that I'm involved with, something invariably goes wrong. And so by, the law of averages, at some point we're going to have a situation where something happens to the keynote speaker last minute and somebody needs to be prepared to step in. So, being that my college is traditionally, or mostly non-traditional students, so people who have been, out of school for 20 some years, then go back to get their stuff. What I would say to them,
I think we lost Sayo.
I think we lost Saya too.
No, my school was kind of the same as yours, Baroness, but it was military, so I was pretty much surrounded by like staff sergeants who were faced with getting a degree to continue or talking about retirement.
Pretty much. I mean, and like my students, it's like they're in the same thing. I mean, we have some military students at ground. We have a lot of them are just people that, they've been in jobs for 20 years and they can't go anywhere because they don't have that piece of paper that says, hey, I have the education that means I can be a manager. Whereas, the kid just coming out of, college at 23 has that piece of paper and is going into the management stuff. It's like, oh, well, you don't have quite the same qualifications there. So, I guess what I would say is, even if you're 50 something and, just starting back, everybody's path is different. So my advice to them would be, if you get to that point, no matter what stage you are in life, if you feel you have something you need to do, go and do it. If you feel like you need to go back to class, go back to class, do something that you enjoy. But just remember, the most important thing is everybody's path is different. So don't hold yourself back saying, well, I can't do this because I'm, this old, or I can't do this because all of my background experience is in this other thing. Try something new, take a risk, go and do it.
Yeah, totally.
So that's what my speeches center around every year.
And I think there's also a lot of, you are capable of accomplishing what you choose to accomplish. And, what a lot of life is mindset. If I believe I can do something, more often than not, I can do it. If I just kind of go at it with the mindset of I'm going to fail, chances are you're going to fail.
Right.
Outlook is a lot of things. And if, and it's really hard to overcome when you're down and out and just kind of like, I can't ever succeed at anything. It's like, well, but eventually, even people like us can be successful. So it's, I don't know, I don't mean that it's like derogatory. Actually, it's like from the last line of Babylon 5. They're talking about like how, everyone can still, like, even, like, basically this meant more in like even people, flawed individuals can, find their happiness in the world. It's like, I don't know.
Except for Londa.
I actually used an opposite attitude to scare a chemistry student. It was the second exam of the semester, 2 out of 4, including the final, and is actually the one I did well considering I lasted through the last part. But I looked at this chem student who was like frantically trying to remember molecular formations, just the different shapes of bonded pairs and such. And was just like, you have to accept what the professors know all along. You've been dead since the moment you signed up to this course.
Jeez.
And the sooner you get past that, the more effective chemistry student you'll be.
Jeez.
But it lightened the mood up a little bit. It was just like, I'm just screwing with you. Keep reading.
Terrible.
And awesome too, but
Well, yeah. I'm not denying the awesome factor of that. All right, so I have one more question for you guys. And this is, you guys aren't prepared for this one, so I might give
God,
you a minute.
no.
It's
We're
always she's setting the trend for that now. Like
For
third
our-
question is always like the
I like keeping you guys a little off kilter. You know why? Because you go off kilter all the time.
it's always the bidet, if you will.
It's
That
the
jet
off
of water.
topic. I want this to be organic and authentic.
Really, what we just got done doing was very inorganic, and
Yeah,
all just
very
pulling stuff.
very structured.
Like this structured and
There was a script,
prefabricated, and we were going by the.
Here's the
how you-
question. Silence.
Silence.
Silence, or I shall silence you with the buttons, because I know how to use them now. Ha ha. All right. So your off-topic kind of question for tonight. If you could go back to being your just graduated self, knowing what you know now, what are some choices that you would make differently? We already know that I would go back to my just graduated self and go, really? You were offered a full scholarship to go for engineering school, and you're going to regret not doing that for your entire life if you don't do this.
So what she's indirectly saying is that she doesn't want to meet the Baron. Just saying.
Ooh.
Oh!
No, I still would have met the Baron. I still would have had the same beginning class as I did. I still would have ended up
Oh, is it the
talking-
same school?
Mhm.
Okay, I thought it was at a
would've-
different university.
I would have still had my first 2 years at Penn State at the branch campus. And I actually would have been in, with the exception of, I think there was one class that I would have taken differently, but all the other classes were the same. Because again, for all you people like, freaking out about, what's my major going to be if you're a freshman? Seriously. First couple years are mostly gen eds. Just
So
saying.
basically, what she's saying is she wants to go back, so she'll re-meet the Baron, get married again. She'll have the higher paying job, and he will be the bitch of the relationship. Got it.
Wow.
Not gonna touch that, killer. Not gonna touch that. But I would be making a crapload more money than I am right now, and I'd probably be a lot less stressed. But yeah, I like what I do.
And not accused of microaggressions all the time, and being racist and such.
Are you kidding? I would be laying down draconian policies left and right, and you know it.
So
It would be
are you
amazing.
saying that if you were in engineering, if you were in STEM, you would be ruling the place,
If I
and now
were-
you're not
If I were
because
in engineering,
of offensive people?
if I
or
were in
offended
engineering, what would happen would be like, because right now I also lay down draconian policies, but I have to be nice about it. If I weren't in a customer service type role, I wouldn't be nice about it at all. I would just be like, this is how it goes, boys. And it would be
Very
wonderful
interesting.
too.
I was gonna say that reminds me of my friends who were engineers. They were introduced me to the engineer's credo, which I don't remember the whole thing, but it's something to the effect of, we've been expected to perform miracles for so long, using so little that literally we can do anything.
Was it you can do the impossible quickly, but the miracles require a little bit extra work?
Is
that what it is now?
I'm trying to track it down, but yeah.
Okay, Varyar is chanting "We are Penn State" in chat, which makes me happy.
Yep, hopefully, you'll get those good climate scientists like Michael Mann working there at Penn State, making sure to bring the hockey stick truth to America. And they totally did not cover up, how he was manipulating his data. Just because he had erased all of it didn't mean that, hey, good scientists always erase all their data so nobody can, double check their facts. That's just what good scientists do. Hey, just because he's lost every libel lawsuit, lost every libel lawsuit he's had so far, and is still in the middle of a couple more. Hey, that doesn't mean he was lying. It doesn't mean that he's apparently not paying his lawyers enough.
Okay. All right.
So,
but actually, on topic or off topic question.
You want to bring up Penn State? I mean, we could have talked about all the other really bad stuff with Penn State. I figured I'd go with the slightly more classy one.
Push it.
Allegedly.
DTD is saying, I would tell myself, take the scholarship to Northwestern, you dumbass, in all caps. Varyar saying, I would do what I did twice as hard and re-enlist to boot. Which makes sense if you know anything about Varyar. He's made the choices he wants to make, and I very much applaud him for that. Baron says killer is no longer sleeping on my couch. I'm not really sure what happened there.
What?
I don't know what
I want
got
Killer's
you
answer
kicked
to
off the
be
couch.
like, part of me wants Killer to just be like, I would have switched to gender studies.
That
No.
would be hilarious.
No.
I mean, you would be
hilarious.
ostracized immediately
No.
just for being a white male, but
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, there's that.
Vampy
Well,
says
no,
I
no,
would...
because
being
if you're
male,
penitent, if this is your penance is to live the rest of your life, as a creature, you'll never make up for it. But
You'd only be accepted in that major if you pretended you were gay. I'm just saying.
And even then, they'd still be judging you.
God.
Vampy
Nancy says she would invest in Facebook.
Smart.
Facebook, yeah.
And Apple too. You probably invest in Apple.
Well, Apple...
And Google.
Yeah. Yep. The big tech ones before they,
You
blew up.
realize that she's like our age, right? She's
Yeah.
not like,
Yeah.
so Apple and Google and stuff were a little bit before that. They were
Google
already,
definitely not.
they were
No.
still growing, but they were
But if you go back and tell yourself to
yeah, but if
invest
she
in it.
goes right before they were getting big, I mean, she'd be like, a small child.
I don't
Google's
know if
not
I
that
like
old.
that. I don't know if I really like that kind of advice, because it's like, I should have just told myself to play the lottery tickets.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
mean,
Get
that's
the
really.
lotto numbers.
I mean, that's really what you're doing. Like, I really just want to give myself a lot of money. Like, okay, is that really
Not necessarily.
advice as much as, hey, what would be really cool? Lots of money. Yeah, I like lots of money. Lots of money's a good idea.
Okay, question. So, would you go back into the past and tell Sayo when he said, younger Sayo, when he says, make like a tree and get out of here, would you say, it's leave?
God.
Maybe.
Really? We're doing Back to
Love
the
that
Future
movie.
references
I was
now?
waiting for it, to be perfectly honest.
God almighty.
Killer, what would you go back and tell your younger killer? Aside from
Actuality-
be very careful about the bullet from last week.
last week. That is
That
true.
was last week, right?
Yeah, it was last week.
I was like, was it 2 weeks ago
That
now?
one
I don't
bullet,
no,
remember.
fire
Oh my
it.
god. Yes.
No.
Okay.
You'd have to have a way to know which bullet, though, in the box.
The
Like,
one
which
that had
bullet?
his name on it, obviously.
Literally.
Killer just comes out of nowhere,
write
like,
on it,
grabs it.
do not shoot this bullet.
Exactly.
I'll be like, what the fuck? I can't even read that. Oh, well, I guess I'll put it in.
God.
Probably what I would say, I don't know. I had the chance of staying with the ROTC program. I'm kind of wondering if I should have stayed with it and stuck it through and see maybe actually have gotten the commission. But probably what I'd say is don't get hung up with certain desires or wants with
Giggity.
yeah, I know.
Giggity, giggity.
I'm following you, Killer.
Yeah,
Yeah, indeed.
that's probably what I'd say. Don't get hung up on certain, because what you're thinking right now is not what you think it's going to be in 3 or 4 years.
Exactly. Okay.
It's quite true.
Bio, what are you telling young Bio?
Baby said, don't
Don't
trust
trust
candy.
candy. Yeah,
That's true.
As candy with an I, as in
Yeah.
Killer's
Yes, for the
fan fiction,
for the-
fictional.
Candy's making an appearance
Girlfriend.
at the towards the end of this.
Oh dear.
Oh,
fanfic.
no.
I mean, he's moving up from Lyser's sister.
That is Lyser's sister.
That's
Candy is Lyser's sister.
I didn't
that
realize.
one's not been paying
Yeah,
attention
come on,
to
keep up with the.
fanfic.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, she does make an appearance at RivalCon in the current storyline, and
Oh
she,
God.
she does.
We gotta come up with
really-
something like when they refer to the X-Men and the Avengers and all that. They call it like the Marvel Universe. We have to come up with like the, I don't know,
Oh, Hax had a name for
the
it.
Baroness
He went to-
Universe or
he
something.
It's clearly the RCU.
The RC RivalCast universe. Do we get to do like a time crisis where future Baroness has to to prevent a disaster with past Baroness?
No. It's a
She
parallel
kind
Baroness.
of
That's what it is.
is doing that.
Oh, and then in her universe, like Baron's gone, so she's like totally trying to hit that, and you're just like, "That's my Baron." I'm just saying.
You guys are
She's thinking about it. She's thinking about it.
no,
And now her head hurts worse.
how we can.
I'm,
You
I'm
didn't
trying
answer
to-
the question properly.
Oh, sorry. Well, let me answer one quick thing. DDD was asking whatever happened to the side plot of Blank Slate. It is definitely still being worked on. I'm working on it. I'm gonna like dump so many chapters. You guys are gonna hate me.
You have to read the comment properly. D actually wrote, "Whatever happened to the side plot to DeBarklerd, where Sayo and I kick some ass."
It is gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Spoiler.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I honestly don't know. I'm not at Varyar's point where I'm just 100% satisfied with the way things went. There are some things I take from Killer's advice, like the person I chose to date for 6 years. I probably should have taken my rabbit's advice when he glared at her, like 3 years into the relationship, and she was just like, "Why is your rabbit glaring at me?" I should have realized, even though it meant nothing really, it probably just meant light was in his eyes or something, or he was tired. But I should have just been like, goodbye. This isn't going to work out. So, yeah, there should have been that. I don't know. I got some really cool experiences from the degree path I took. In my sophomore year, ROTC was trying to recruit me, and I turned that down, which is probably better because my eyesight's freaking terrible now. It's like 7.5 in one eye, and 8 is pretty much the limit for officer school. Warrior is only satisfied up until 22. After that, things went to hell. Okay, well. I guess I don't know. I may have told myself I may have, so going to college, I honestly wasn't planning on it out of high school. It was kind of a last minute, like I threw in the application probably like a week before the deadline. Like I wasn't really all that interested in it. It's kind of in a very transitional, what am I going to do in life kind of thing. So I don't know. Maybe I would show my past self the different things that are out there, and maybe say look beyond the state I grew up in for initial school. Because systems engineering is something I'm really interested in now after doing software development and stuff like that. It's something I really like to read about, and there was, as far as I know, there's no program for that here at all. I had to go online because emergency management wasn't even offered, so I had to start. I started with a geography degree and transferred. So I don't know. I don't have a real good answer for it. Just look outside of my general radius for what I want to do, I guess.
And that ties back to some other good advice that I knew I had. I really should just write these things down, but just because something isn't offered where you are, or because something hasn't, someone hasn't done something before, if it's something that interests you and something that you think you can do, by all means, for the love of God, try it. I mean,
sure.
One of the things that really stood out most for me when I was, a young college student when I first started out was, as an education major, we had to do these different volunteer hours with the different schools to try out different things and make sure, before we really got into the program and the core and student teaching and everything, to make sure that teaching is in fact something that we wanted to do. So in order to do that, you had to have so many volunteer hours. You had to there was a class that you took early on in your program where you actually were assigned to work in, an elementary school for, so many days out of the semester, or in a middle school for so many days out of the semester, and a high school for the same thing. One of the things that I worked with, because the branch campus I was at was in my home school district where I graduated from, was I got a special permission to actually work with the school district to do my volunteer hours, which is something you don't usually do. They want you to kind of branch out.
Nice.
But because I'd only been there for 2 years, I built, strong relationships with the administration, and I had ideas for new projects that I wanted to try that initially were actually turned down because they're like, well, no one's ever done this before. We don't know how it would work, So I had to go through and figure out, okay, well, what are the liabilities for this? What would the costs be? How can I get around those costs? What can I do? And pitch that idea and basically be annoying until they were finally like, you know what, you have a plan, just do it.
Yeah.
Which is also good advice for colleges, that you can
Definitely.
do almost anything if you can hound somebody long enough.
Exactly.
Like, basically, most of the rules in college are completely arbitrary, and all you have to do is basically find the person who can say, yes, fine, do it.
And not just that, but actually put the muscle and the time behind it to actually make something successful.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
people are a heck of a lot more likely to make concessions for you if you can show that you're willing to put forth, the time that it takes to actually
Right.
accomplish what
If
you
they know
say
there
you're
will be
trying to
results.
do. If you just walk in and say, "Oh, I want to do this," and you should let me because reasons. Chances are
That
they're not
reminds
going to
me of,
stick their neck
yeah.
out for you. But if you're somebody that has proven that you can, you've done, X, Y, and Z, and you can show the potential for, what your project can put forth, they're going to give you more credit and, be more willing to help you get to that point. So sort of that, okay, well, how far can she go if she's given the right tools?
Mm.
So
Yeah,
there's
that definitely happened to me. Well, not directly, but we had a group of 5 computer science majors come to the hospital and do their keystone or capstone. What I think it's capstone project is what they call it.
Mhm.
But they were basically going to go and visit all the physicians, both in the clinics and inpatient areas, and I think the research guys too, and figure out where they store their data. Because so many of them just do like local access databases or Excel spreadsheets and stuff
Mhm.
like that. It's not centralized. So if that guy's computer dies, research goes with it, right? A lot of valuable data. So they went through and they did this project, and honestly, we weren't all that impressed with them. I mean, they were going, but they weren't really gung-ho about it at all. Anyway, when they went to present their findings to the higher-ups, basically their conclusion was that we needed to give them all jobs so that they could fix this. And it was just like, you guys barely showed any motivation in doing this. Like, we'll take that into advisement, go do your cap and gown thing, later, thank you. So the only valuable thing we got out of it is we knew which doctors had what Excel spreadsheet and what it had. And that was helpful, but
not really.
yeah, their solution was not innovative.
Knowing
No.
that it exists doesn't help you with.
Well, it helped the higher ups. The higher ups were very much a once we know something, we're going to hammer out a policy. So I'm sure that turned into now that no longer gets to be in a spreadsheet. It's in a database. And now they know that, okay, you 2 doctors are doing the same thing, so you guys get to share a table. So I'm sure it caused more problems in the end than it helped.
Probably.
So yeah. But yeah, that's a perfect example of coming up with a solution, but because the drive wasn't there, we weren't really enthused about it. So as far as I know, none of them, I think maybe 2 of them applied for a job, and we didn't hire any of them.
Happens.
Yep, it happens.
All right. Well, it is coming up on 11 o'clock. We went a little bit over, but then again, we had our ghost came back. Our real 4th chair is the
That's
ghost in the Ethernet cable. But they silenced you guys for a change, which I think is just
Yeah.
hilarious.
That is amazing.
The
Anyway.
matriarchy, folks, the matriarchy.
You know what? That should be a thing now, Bio. Good job. We're gonna start that. We're gonna start that.
I
hashtag.
apologize in advance, Twitch people. I was about to say folks and
He's
people. at the same
not
time.
he doesn't mean that apology, Twitch. He doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
It's true.
Well, again, plebeians, thank you for joining us once again for RCM On Tap. Be sure to check out our other shows throughout the week. The as yet unnamed gaming show will be returning Monday night at around 10 Eastern.
I told Dee the other night he should call it the Group Hug Podcast.
Aww.
The group hug
I
podcast.
like that a
God.
lot. I like that a lot.
I still like the Super Babakarabu Adventure show or whatever it was called.
So long as they decide on something, because,
We
still,
only
we
can have
already-
one. We only can have one logo pending on this station.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say. We can have only one. We're kind of
There can only
not
be
going to
one.
decide on
As-
something.
I mean, and if it's gonna be only can be one, I think the guy named Highlander gets
Pretty much
first
wins
dibs
that
on
one.
that.
yeah. You make a
Nice.
very good point there. Anyway, be sure to check them out. Dee's got his story time on Tuesday evenings during the old Sheep Moon time
Pumped.
slot as well, so be sure to check that out. It's very entertaining. Ghost in the Podcast is on normal time, Sunday afternoon, 5 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Jesus, 4 Central. It's been a long night, guys. And for all of our other fun stuff, be sure to check out our website, RivalCastMedia.com. We have all of our old podcasts, our written content, all sorts of fun stuff, as well as information on OrbFest, so be sure to check it out. I know, right? There's still time to get your tickets in, surprisingly enough, because I screwed something up. But anyway, thank you again for joining us, and from all of us here at RCM, cheers.